Does your hairstylist secretly hate doing your hair? Let's discuss. First, let me say this. I am very aware that social media can be a great vehicle to showcase your talents and for your business to thrive. However, I am noticing a trend when it comes to hairstylists, specifically natural hairstylists. I'm beginning to notice that they are solely creating content, either complaining about their natural hair clients or trying to embarrass them. If you are new here, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care and hair care topics. If you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. Okay, so this is a hair talk video. I know you guys really like these videos, so get your charcuterie boards, get your wine, get your juice, get your water, and let's sit and talk and have a conversation. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. You guys know that I'm not into exposing people, so everything is going to be blurred out.
As you saw it right, this service was $415. And to be honest, for the time spent, that is not enough. Her service included a deep cleanse, a conditioning steam treatment at the bowl, a consultation, hair and scalp analysis, and a haircut because she needed a haircut. It's been years since she had a haircut. So when you get the split ends and they traveling up the hair shaft, it makes your detangle process harder. Plus, she's coming out of twists when she had in for 2 months. Now, if you think about it, almost 5 hours to detangle, I could have got so many other services done. And no, she did not get a hairstyle. Most of my clients don't. Her mother really was in dire needs. She just wanted her daughter hair to be more manageable. She has a lot of thick, beautiful hair, but it was not manageable. Splits was traveling up the hair shaft. The detangling process was crazy. So this was the start of her journey. And it never took me 5 hours on anybody hair ever in life. This was one of the biggest jobs I've ever done. My neck and my back still hurt. But they're happy.
Okay, so for this particular video, there are two things that I do want to say. So the very first thing that I want to get out of the way is that we do need to put some onus on the mother, right? This is her child, it's her responsibility, but at the same time, I do want to extend some grace to her. We do not know her circumstances, okay? Second thing that I want to point out, and this is more so for these stylists, and I'm pretty sure most people understand and know this. There are hair salons and there are hairstylists who will not take matted hair or will not take clients who have matted hair. Matted hair and tangled hair are two completely different things, okay? So that part I do understand. There could be a lot of liability that comes with that, or the actual client or the client's, I'll say, parent may not particularly care for or may not like the outcome, or there are just so many things that could go wrong with dealing with matted hair, especially if you have someone coming in, you don't know their story, you don't know their circumstance, you don't know what they've been doing, you don't know what they're doing at home. There are a lot of things that can be tacked on to dealing with matted hair, okay? But these are things that I want to point out about this particular stylist and her commentary and all of that. Once you chose to actually perform the service, that's it. You perform the service and you move on. She's talking about how it took her 5 hours to detangle the hair. She's talking about how her neck and back hurts. She's talking about how much hair the young woman has. She's talking about it's never taken her this long before. One thing I do want to point out, and clearly this is what it was about. She said that within the time frame, which is the 5 hours of her detangling this one client's hair, she could have done so many other services. If that was the case, you should have turned the mother away and said, listen, we don't do that here. That's very time consuming. We'd love to service you, but please come back when your daughter's hair is not matted. The first issue is that you really didn't want to do her hair. The second issue is that you worried about all of the other services that you would have been able to do in that time frame. Okay, so this one is short and sweet. Let me go ahead and say this first. I am aware that there are problem clients, whether it's hair and whether it's all different types and forms of businesses. I'm aware of that, but this short didn't need to be posted. All y'all had to do was part ways and leave it at that. Your caption, your copy and the music that you chose for the video was just uncalled for.
Yes.
Your hair down. We're here for like a sewing video, right?
Yes.
Or just the front?
Close your sewing. Yeah.
How long is your hair? During this service, the whole time I was questioning, should I charge her extra? Should I charge her extra? I was braiding for an hour and a half. Usually I braid for an hour, and still I was like, should I charge her extra? My arms started hurting, and I was like, should I charge her extra? Because her hair is so long and thick, and it took me way longer than I usually should. And you know, as a hairstylist, you charge by your time. But in the end, I did ask my followers on my stories to ask if I should have charged her extra, and it was on my bad because I already charged her before her service. That is a part of my policy. You pay 100%, and I didn't charge her extra, you guys. I didn't feel well charging her extra because even though I did more, it didn't sit well with me. So this is the finished look, and let me guys know what you think in this section. Oh, and we did a sewing with lace closure, the glueless method, and I will list all the products that I've used in this video.
Okay, so the first thing that I want to point out is that through the entire video, she's trying to figure out whether or not she should charge this young woman extra. She wants to charge her extra because typically she braids for an hour, and with this particular client, she had to braid for an hour and a half. The next thing she talks about is time is money, especially when you are a hairstylist. I understand that, fine. Then she starts talking about her arms hurt and things like that. I don't know the other clients that this woman has, but the fact that your arms are hurting, I mean, that's a part of your job. If you are dealing with long natural hair, if you are dealing with hair in general, your arms are going to begin to hurt. But again, as I'm saying, you're so focused on charging her more, you need to be tending to your client. And then lastly, she says that she asked her community whether or not she should have charged more. She charged her up front. So she said that she did not feel good charging her more. She didn't feel right. Then she says that she ended up not charging her more, but then she follows that up by saying, even though I did more work. I want to point out a comment, and this person says, well, this is unprofessional as to post. And some people were saying, right, things like that. And I do agree with her. This to me is kind of the exact same thing. Let's say a psychiatrist has a session with someone. They might not explicitly in their content say the person's name, but they basically hop on Instagram and just tell all of this person's business. It's very unprofessional. Some people disagree, some people do agree. I think if I were a client, especially if I was the mother to the young woman in the first one, I think if I was to hop on Instagram, although you cannot see the mother and you cannot see the young woman's face, I think if I were to hop on Instagram, because again, like I said, we don't know her circumstances. I think if I were to hop on Instagram, I think I would maybe be a little bit embarrassed, and I think that I would feel some type of way. I came to you as a stylist to do my daughter's hair, and that should have been it.
So y'all remember my last story time, right? Well, I got another one for y'all today. Because why would my male client leave his braids up for 4 months? What? I'm not exaggerating. He left his braids up for 4 months. Like, look at the build-up. Look at the build-up. Look at the cape. Look at the snowfall. He gonna say, man, I just be working so hard, I don't be thinking about my hair. Well, start thinking about it, my boy, because my brain can't be doing all the work here. I worked my magic and got it clean, but golly, what a task. I got this comment on my last story time, and she ain't told nan lie, okay? And to the 5% of my guys who actually take care of their hair, kudos to y'all. But the rest of y'all down 1,000. And if any of the guys that follow me got some tips for him, let him know in the comments, because he need it. He don't listen to me.
Now, I do agree with one thing. When it comes to men, they will do absolutely nothing to their skin and their hair, and they both will flourish. So rather complaining about their service, I think she could have taken the stance to make it an educational video, saying, hey guys, this is what you don't do, or this is why you don't leave your braids in for 4 months at a time. Because even in the video, when she was trying to emulate his voice, he said that he's just been so busy, which again, that's why I said in the first video, we need to extend grace to the mother. Again, I understand that his face is not being shown in the video, but people are going through things. People are in certain circumstances. He came to you to fix his hair, and move on.
Welcome to episode 8 of Why He Ain't Cut That Off. Now this client right here pissed me slap
And I'm telling y'all right now, this shit ugly and full. And it wasn't because of me neither, because I did what I was supposed to do. So this client came by a few months ago because he only wanted extensions at the top of his head. But at that time, too short, so I told him to grow it out and then come see me. Now I'm appalled like Corey when he heard Carmen's song, because he still only had 30 damn locks. Now only doing the top of his head, he want half of his head filled in with the locks. Now I'm but MX plus B equal this ain't enough. And I told him it wasn't enough. But he was so adamant about getting his hair done that day, he gonna tell me do what I can do. So I parted his hair and realized that they was gonna be big, because I can only put 15 on each side. So I gave him the mirror and showed him what he was gonna look like, hoping he was gonna change his mind and go back and get some more locks. But he was like, "Alright, go ahead." I asked him, was he sure? One more time, because I sure wasn't, but he was like, "Go ahead." So I pissed offly put them in his head and boom, space and opportunity. This was the best I could do with what he had, what length it was, and how thick it was, and how thin dreads was. Then he wanted y'all favorite hairstyle, but I told him it's gonna look like you got 5 dreads in your head and you get them 2 strands. So I gave him this style. This was the best I could. Later on that day, he hit me up and told me he was gonna have some more dreads tomorrow. When can I put the back in? I told him Monday. Guess follow me for more lock transformations. I'm posting the good and the bad.
Okay, so because I had to bleep a lot of that out, I would just quickly go over it. Basically, he was trying to get some dread extensions and she was complaining the entire time. She was saying it was going to take too much time and she was saying that it wasn't enough. The first thing that I want to say is this, what I'm going to say for the rest of them. Although you cannot see this man's face, you are in this video, all you're doing is complaining. He comes to you with the dread extensions and you tell him it's not going to be enough. He asks you to do it anyway, so you tell him I will do my best. Fine. The second thing is she posted personal conversations. And while some people don't see that this is an issue, this is actually part of a bigger issue. You guys know that I have spoken about this before, but this is a topic within itself that is another video. We are so comfortable posting people's business and this whole exposed culture thing that we don't realize, as I've said before with the other 2 examples, people are going through things and people might not necessarily want their private conversations on the internet. Aside from the unprofessionalism, aside from the cussing and all of that, you made this video solely to complain. You didn't do it to educate, and you really didn't do it to show the before and after. Because this seems to be a story time with this particular stylist. You did it to complain. Okay, so now let's move on to my thoughts. And I really quickly, from one of these videos, do want to read a comment because I wholeheartedly agree. And it states, anytime I meet a stylist who is surprised, intimidated, or complaining about healthy hair, it's a clear sign to get the F out of there. And I do agree. One thing that I will say, and this can be said for life in general, but we're talking about hair. How someone views your hair, the attitude that someone has towards your hair is how they are going to treat your hair. Maybe not in the beginning, maybe not in the middle, maybe more so towards the end. But when you sit, or if you every single time you walk through your hairstylist's door and all she's doing is huffing and puffing, every single time she sits down, every single time you sit down in her chair and she's huffing and she's puffing and she's rolling her eyes and she's always talking about how much hair you have and all of this other stuff, to me, that is a red flag. Number one, this is your job, no? This is your job. So you need to do your job. If you don't want to do my hair or my daughter's hair, I'd rather you just say that. I don't want to pay you for my daughter or for myself to ruin my hair. If you don't want to do the job, just say that. Postings for educational purposes, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There are many stylists out there who post their before and after, who come at it from an educational standpoint. But when you hop on the internet just solely to attempt to embarrass your client or complain, again, and I know people are going to say, well, why do you keep harping on this, or why do you think it's a big deal? It is a big deal. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about or bring up this video is because, and I've said this before, the attitude from the top all the way to the bottom, and this includes hairstylists, this includes instruction when it comes to hair school. In order for the attitude to change surrounding natural hair, it has to start from the top. It has to start from the instructors and it has to start from the hairstylist. When you are posting these videos, when all you are doing is complaining, your sole intention is to complain or to embarrass your client. Somebody else might be watching that and they're saying, or they might be thinking that when it comes to their hair, this has nothing to do with acceptance. When it comes to their hair, they're thinking that it is a burden to work with. They're thinking that there is something wrong with their hair. There's nothing wrong with the young woman's hair or the young man's hair. It's just that the particular stylist chair that you're sitting in probably doesn't want to do it. Also, many women are choosing to not only go natural, but they are choosing to do their hair at home. And I've spoken about this before because a lot of y'all have made comments under these hair talk videos saying that for a lot of women or for a lot of hairstylists, it's a money grab. And I think there's a little bit of truth in that, because I think there are some situations where stylists are offering services that, number one, they truly don't want to do, or they don't know how to do the service. But because the attitude about hair, especially natural hair, has shifted, maybe they feel so that they need to offer these services to kind of recoup what it is that they have lost, whether it's relaxers, weaves, wigs, or extensions. Why this matters? It matters because not only from a, I guess you could say, a spectator perspective, and also just for the person sitting in the chair. I cannot imagine sitting in my stylist chair and then, let's say maybe 24 hours later, she posts a video and all she did was complain about my hair, how long it was, how thick it was. And even in situations where you cannot see my face, I don't know if I would, number one, go back to this particular stylist, but I would also be wondering what she's thinking about when she's doing my hair. Or I would also be wondering what her attitude is surrounding my hair. I really don't think I would feel comfortable going back to a stylist where all she did was complain. You are perpetuating this narrative that natural hair is hard to deal with. Natural hair can take longer, but it's not harder to take care of. It can actually be quite simple. Now, if the person has a lot of hair and if they have thick hair, then yes, it is going to take longer. As the hairstylist, maybe you find it difficult to do. And honestly, if you do find it difficult to do, I would rather you not do it at all. And you guys know when it comes to me, whenever I give you tips about natural hair care, it's always quick, easy, and simple. It's nothing complex. Doing natural hair does not have to be complex. If you truly are a natural hair stylist, then you know that. You know that it is going to take longer. You know that it's not going to be as short as someone who is relaxed or someone who has a straighter texture. You already know that. So I don't understand why you are on the internet complaining about it. Okay, so that is the end of this hair talk. Let's start a discussion in the comments. One of the things that I love about my community is that we can disagree, but we do so respectfully. Also, if you are a hairstylist, please, let's also start a conversation. I just want to remind you, here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And of course, right here or right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Bye.
We always have it coming.